Subscribe, hit that bell icon, and share this clip if you enjoy it. This is TRS Clips. I mean, I've had very little trekking experience. I've gone for a few hikes, but that's about it. I brought up this mountain in Jibhi we had climbed on. Jibhi is a place in Himachal Pradesh. Incredibly beautiful, incredibly spiritual, great energy in that mountain, man. But I remember when we were near the summit, our guide kind of told us to run, hit the summit, and then start returning because he could see a cloud formation happening. Like he could see clouds coming in, and that meant rain, which also possibly meant snow. It was during the winter. And it happened so fast. Like 1 minute it was sunny. The next minute it became like super gray. Okay.
Yeah.
And he just flipped out. And I realized how much of a slave to weather you are on the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
And that made me think of you guys. Yourself, Devang, Kuntal. You guys, if y'all are in the middle of some big mountain, you all just have your tent, you can't even go back probably, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That must be a massive fear, just this grey cloud cover suddenly coming in.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand, especially if they've not climbed mountains, is that weather is extremely random at the top of a mountain. Like, you can't predict it.
That's very true. I think that's true for even sea. Like I go sailing sometimes with a friend of mine who knows how to like handle a sailboat all by himself and one other person. So there's no motor, no nothing. You're completely controlled by wind, right? And once he took me with him and he asked me to basically control the boat's direction or something. You realize how much of a slave you are. You can't control the tide. You can't control the wind. All you can do is like you can believe that you're in control and you can just be grateful that nothing bad is happening. Because in 1 second, the sea can change its mood and you're done.
This is outside Bombay?
This is slightly away from Bombay. Like you start from Bombay and then you can like go outdoors a little bit. I had no idea Bombay had like these sailboat races and whatnot. And yeah, that was the first time I explored it with him.
What's that like, dude? Like the sea that's kind of near Mumbai?
It's very commercial. But at the same time, if you make the right choices, for example, if you go with the right people, you can do like open sea diving, which is
What the
Yeah. Like
near Bombay?
Yeah, near Bombay. Yeah. You can go swim in the open waters and whatnot. And that's a very different experience from like being in a swimming pool.
Have you done this?
So I wanted to do it, but they say that you have to go observe for the first 1 or 2 times.
Why?
I don't know. They say it's a different feeling altogether. So though you've been in a pool, once you go into the water, the deep water, it changes how your mind like perceives how you float or something. Like it's very different. Yeah, it's very different. They say that open sea swimming is something that you should do with experienced people only, and that too after you observe once or twice. Like don't directly jump into the water.
But what do you think can go wrong?
I think you'll just freeze. Maybe that's the first thing that goes wrong.
As in your body will just...
Yeah, you just don't know what decisions to make. For example, when you're in a pool, intuitively, you like start moving your legs, then you start like swimming and whatnot. They say that when you're there, you just feel like you're not in control. Swimming in a swimming pool is a very controlled environment.
Is it because of wild animals?
Not just wild animals. It's because... I think it could be the waves, it could be the depth. You don't know what's beneath you. You don't know how you're going to respond if something happens. There are no lifeguards. There is nothing. Even though you have people who might save you, it's a very different feeling altogether.
Dude, I would also assume that the sea near Mumbai, and by saying near, I mean like really close to the city, is pretty dirty. Like there's sewage, there's pollutants.
Yeah.
So how far in is this section of the sea that you're talking about?
I'm not really sure if I can quantify it, but it takes a while to get there. That's all I can say.
3 hours, 4 hours.
Maybe 2 to 3 hours because I honestly slept because they leave so early in the morning. They also have their rules like when they swim, how they swim, etc. Then this is
somewhere between India and the Gulf, I'm assuming.
I mean, yeah, if you're near Bombay, there's just one direction you can go, right?
Maybe you can go down?
Yeah, but even then you'll be between the Gulf itself, right? Like we are on the same coast in some way. But like for me, like since we're talking about adventures, right? There is the mountains, there's the sea, and then there are these deserts. So I'd watched Marco Polo and I thought it was really cool how the Silk Route was there. And the toughest patch in the Silk Route is the Gobi Desert. So I started researching. Turns out there are people who walk the entire Gobi Desert like they used to back in the day as a thrill right now. It's 1,000 miles. They walk it in 60 days. And turns out a girl from Pune who had a normal job, she's like 33 or 34. She did the whole thing. And now my next fascination is, dude, I need to train for this.
What the
I need to train for this. I want to walk through the entire Gobi desert and see how that feels. I'm done with the mountains. I'm done with the sea. Not completely done with the sea, but I've experienced the sea a little bit. But now I want to go see how the desert feels. Like, that's a different ball game altogether.
What do you think that challenge is? Like the heat, the dryness?
The heat, the dryness, the lack of life. I think the texture that you're walking on, it's very different. Like, imagine rocks when you're in the mountains, then snow. Then you go down to like the water, there's buoyancy, right? Like you're floating and whatnot. And then you're walking in sand, which is extremely hot. The surrounding is different. You're like seeping your foot in every time you walk. You can't train unless you're like running on sand and whatnot. And just seeing the same thing every day. You're just seeing the same damn thing every day. What kind of mental conditioning do you need to go through 60 days of that?
That's where mirages come into play, right? Like, maybe that's why they say that, oh, you see mirages in the desert.
Yeah.
Like you see a mirage, you think you're looking at something beautiful, and then you go there and there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's your mind playing tricks on you.
Yeah. Mind does play tricks on you, right?
It might be that whole simulation where if you're actually seeing the same environment for such a long time, you start to go crazy a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Like people in the sea also, right? Like people who are on the sea for a very long time, they see nothing but water and the horizon. I have no idea what they go through.
Yeah, that's what they attribute mermaid sightings to.
Oh,
Like
really?
in olden times, sailors who used to claim that, oh, we saw a mermaid. People say that, no, you're just probably missing your girlfriend or your wife. And your mind is playing tricks on you because all you've seen for so many months is just the open waters.
Probably. But you know what? That's a very interesting point. Because I read somewhere that we know more about the space than we do about oceans. So who are we to assume that we know everything about the oceans and someone was just hallucinating? Or where do you draw the line between hallucinations and reality and whatnot? So whenever someone says something, I give them the benefit of doubt. Of course, I don't believe in mermaids, but I do feel like
there's some mysteries out there that we don't know.
100% there are mysteries out there that we don't know about.